Shut up and sit down.
Hello, I'm MongolPSR and welcome to my review of Rage 2. For the purposes of this review, I am only including footage from the open world and the first few cutscenes in the game. All late game story plots and missions will be left out of this review. Rage 2 is made by id Software and by Avalanche Studios, the same people who make the Just Cause games, as well as having made the Mad Max movie tie-in game from 2015. To say that Rage 2 is an improvement from the original Rage would be both an outright lie and a well-earned truth. Rage 2 is complicated for me. Behind the excellent combat that is as smooth as some of id's more well-known titles like Doom and Wolfenstein lies a game that doesn't really know what it wants to do with itself. In some aspects, Rage 2 completely embraced its apocalyptic future that's driven by chaos and insanity, and another that just reeks of the developers running out of ideas on things to do. In total, it makes it seem like Rage 2 doesn't really have a distinct identity and is at a loss on what it wants to be, caught between offering a well-paced action-packed FPS and a completely free and open world, both sides getting stiffed by the other. First things first, Rage 2 opens up with telling and catching the player up with the events of the last game. It is now 30 years after the events of Rage, and you now play as a character named Walker, who, when given the option, could be either a girl or a guy. For my playthrough, I chose to be a girl. Not 2 seconds later, my who I assume to be brother is turned into paste by an enemy. Well, no time to mourn. I've got weird mutants to kill. In a few minutes, you watch a guy who is called a ranger take out a bunch of baddies easily, then get his head bitten off. It's all real sad and... wait, you're just stealing his clothes? What the hell? The game very quickly shows off all of its mechanics, and in 30 minutes, you are free to explore the wasteland at your leisure. The overarching story is that you want to kill the main bad guy of the game, General Cross, the leader of the Authority, a military faction that wants to turn all of humanity into mutants. After the death of your mother figure Prowley and the destruction of your town Vineland, you are now the last ranger alive, and it is up to you to exact revenge. So now you're free with the only direction you're given is to find 3 people who can help you kill General Cross. The people you need to meet are John Marshall of Gun Barrel, Lucem Hagar of Wellspring, and Dr. Anton Kvasser of Bumfuck Nowhere. Where are you? Why are you at the edge of nowhere? It's so hard and annoying to get to you. It takes forever. These 3 help you get the stuff you need to get into General Cross's base so you can kill him. That's the story. That's it. Now, I know that the original Rage didn't have much in terms of story, but that's no excuse for having a lazy, uninspired story. It was clear that the focus of the game was on the gameplay, not the story, and that's fine. It shows with how polished the gameplay is. The gameplay is fast-paced and explosive. You can be as creative as you want with how you play, with the several different types of weapons offered, as well as different suit powers like Shatter, Grav Slam, and Dash. There are others, but those were the only ones I used because they were the most useful to me. This, however, is where a problem with the game comes in. It's too easy. I think I died like once during the combat. Every other time I died was just because I accidentally jumped off something that was too high in the air. This is highlighted by the fact that I played over 90% of the game only using the shotgun. If I wasn't using the shotgun, it was because I was out of ammo for it, or I wasn't able to be close enough to use it. That's it. The shotgun in Rage 2 is so powerful that I played the whole game with it, ignoring all of my other weapons except on very rare occasions. My thought process was, why use other weapons when I can kill almost every enemy in the game with 1 to 2 shots? Now you may be asking why I didn't turn the difficulty up. I did! I played through most of the game on normal, and some of it on hard. There was no difference in difficulty, because the amount of auto health pickups the enemies dropped combined with the amount of health and ammo crates scattered around throughout the entire map, not to mention that any time I could pause the game and craft full heal items, with all the extra scrap I had acquired, as well as going into overdrive just generates health naturally. I know I just did a video talking about how great the glory kill system from Doom was, and how it was rewarding to get auto health pickups on killing enemies, but this is too rewarding. I rarely was below half health in my playthrough, and no matter what was thrown at me, I just needed my trusty shotgun to solve all my problems. I even killed the final boss of the game with only a shotgun. It's that powerful and useful. The game offers up all these inventive weapons and grenades and wing sticks, but why use them when shotgun? Every answer to the game, shotgun. Enemy, shotgun. Barrels, shotgun. Shotgun is the way to go, so why anything else? I, however, don't think this is just the shotgun's fault. I think this is also the fault of the open world. You see, this is where I get a little confused on my feelings with Rage 2. Its gameplay is solid and offers a lot of fun, but that fun is hampered by the open world. Let me explain. Rage 2's open world is pretty big, and it has a lot to do in it. There's explorable areas, arcs, authority sentries, bandit dens, roadblocks, mutant nests, meteorites, giant roaming crushers, boss battle convoys, bounties, missing rangers, pit stop stations, electro forges, repowering stations, mutant bash horde challenges, and racing. That's a lot, huh? It's really not. Most of these activities are variations of the same formula. You have the challenges that require you to kill all the baddies, the challenges that require you to kill the bosses, the challenges that require you to destroy certain objects in that area, and the races. And honestly, the only challenge category that's genuinely fun is the kill all the baddies challenges. These challenges allow for the gameplay to do what it does best, and that'd be fast-paced FPS fun. The other challenge types offer very little in the terms of fun. The boss fights are with these laser towers that you destroy by hiding behind something and popping out and shooting it till it's dead. I avoided these because they sucked and totally killed the pace of the gameplay. I never did the convoys because by the time I was strong enough to do them, I had the Icarus and just flew over everything because it was way faster. And the Crusher bosses were the same thing over and over again. Yes, they had variation where the giant mutant might have some armor, but that's solved with a shotgun. Or a rocket launcher, but mostly shotgun. Not much more to it than that, and even with the threat of two of them at the same time, I killed them with no issue. The challenges where you had to destroy certain objects just suck. More often than not, I had to spend 5 to 10 minutes looking over the entire area to find one single object I was missing. This goes doubles for every area's collectibles. Okay, side note. Every area in the game has collectibles in the form of arc chests, which give upgradable material, storage chests which give money or material, and data pads which give more world-building exposition for that particular area. This is fine, and I support it. One thing, though. Why in the hell are these not given any way to track or find? I played the game for 30 fucking hours, and most of that was finding every area's collectibles. I cleared over 70% of the map by combing through every area to make my icons get grayed out and get a little checkmark because I'm fucking special and I needed it. To only find out 30 hours later that Dr. Anton Cavasser gave me the ability to buy upgrades that track these things and would lead me to them. You know I would say I'm seeing red, but everything is taken a gray hue at this point. Why did the guy who is the furthest away from the player at the beginning of the game be the one to give these upgrades? He's most likely the last person you meet out of the 3 main characters. Who came up with this idea? Who the hell thought, oh, let's make it so it's hard to get the ability to complete areas until the player is mostly done with the game? Because that makes sense. The person who makes this decision deserves to be stuck in a 10 square block town and told to find the 10 hidden pieces of shit, with no clues, no way out, and he's only allowed to leave when he finds them. And then when he gets them, he'll get a green check mark, because good fucking job. Side note over, I need a Diet Coke. That's good. It calms me down. Anyway, after that tangent brings me to another point. The last activity that I mentioned were races. The races were okay, and they had some pretty killer music tied to them. But the enjoyment kind of died for me when I experienced the worst glitch fucking possible. Sadly, due to human error, I didn't record this because I was making recorded clips only a minute long and forgot to change it back to 10-minute long recordings. The glitch was I couldn't win. Not that I wasn't good enough to, no. In my first 2 races, I had a glitch to where if I was too far ahead in the lead, one of the cars, when they passed their first lap, would be registered as having done all 2 laps, making me instantly lose as a result. This happened twice in a row, and after a reset of my game, only then did it fix itself. This brings up the fact that Rage 2 is freaking glitchy. Characters would talk to me, but their audio would sound like they're far away from me in a tunnel somewhere. I even had the map decide to quit on me. It didn't want to hold me up anymore, and I kept falling through the world multiple times. I once even got stuck down there in the empty void and had to kill myself with grenades. The problem didn't even get solved by resetting the game. I had to reset my entire Xbox. This game was too big. The devs obviously didn't have enough time to QA test this shit because I encountered glitches like this for most of the game. All in all, I feel like the open world hurts Rage 2 more than it helps. The reason why I feel the game is too easy and why the missions are so bland is because it was chosen to be an open world game. The devs had to come up with content to make, and they had to make sure all of the content would be done at any level and progression. When you tout a game as being open world and that what happens is up to the character, means that the gameplay suffers in terms of making a well-paced game with a proper difficulty curve. My commentary on the shotgun highlights this. The harder areas of the game are only harder because enemies have armor that I have to shoot off with an extra bullet or two. It's not harder, it just takes longer. All open world games have this issue, but some games understand that the open world content they have has to be different enough or high enough quality to overcome this issue of challenge and sameness. They have to offer interesting gameplay challenges in terms of map design and enemy variety. With this in mind, I can only think of one area in the entire game where Rage 2 accomplishes this in every way. The Spire. The Spire, which is my nickname for the area because I'm too lazy to figure out what it's actually called, is an encounter that you have to enter the area by driving off a huge ramp and landing in the middle of the bandit den. You immediately start getting shot at, and you have to progress slowly by climbing up these structures, fighting bandits along the way until you reach the very top to take your rewards. It was awesome, it was memorable, and it was what every area in the game should have been like, because if every area was like that, this game would be a must-buy. I guess as a way to summarize what I'm saying about Rage 2 is that it has an identity issue. It wants to be as crazy and insane as franchises like Mad Max and Doom, but doesn't quite take the leap. The devs kept boasting about how they use more than just the brown crayon this time around for coloring their world, but it doesn't really feel like it. Yes, they use pink as an identifying color for interactable objects, and there's cool neon greens and blues, but the whole game feels muted and washed out. This could be fixed, but the Xbox version, and to my knowledge, all versions of the game have no brightness and saturation settings. Two settings that they needed very badly. In quite a few areas of the game, it was so dark I couldn't even see anything and I could see my reflection in the TV. At the same time, Avalanche Studios and id Software talked about and presented the game as this crazy over-the-top game, but it never really quite went the full mile. Yes, there are some areas that are crazy and surprisingly kinky. Don't worry, I won't show those parts. But those instances felt like little self-contained happenings than being a natural part of the world. Rage 2 never had me invested with its world and characters because I don't think Rage 2 ever felt invested in its world and characters. None of the characters were fleshed out. Lily, your friend, could be bottled down to a quirky woman. Lusum Hadgar could be bottled down to a badass woman. John Marshall is just a badass guy, and Dr. Greedy Asshole can be bottled down to quirky guy. All the characters in the games are either quirky, kooky, crazy, or straight-laced badasses. It feels unfinished. The gameplay's fun, but for only so long, and the world has a lot to do, but feels devoid of content. I don't like giving scores because I don't feel like it's a great way to measure something's quality. How do you say something from the horror genre like Amnesia: The Dark Descent is only an 85 on a Metacritic score, but God of War is a 94 on Metacritic? Is God of War really better than Amnesia? Some may say yes, some may say no. It really depends on what you prefer. The problem with giving a game a number is that it is then allowed to be compared to other games of different genres. So instead of saying whether or not Rage 2 is a something out of 10, I want to tell you what I think would be a safe buying price for most audiences. So, is Rage 2 worth $60 US? No. I think Rage 2 could be comfortably bought around the $35 to $45 price range. It's got a lot there, and I enjoyed a decent amount of my playtime with the game. It has very obvious issues, and it has its share of glitches, but the gunplay is worth playing the game alone. I just wouldn't throw down full price for this game if you needed to come to a review to decide on whether or not you wanted to buy Rage 2. This has been MongolPSR. Thanks for watching.